Throughout the last 35 years of my corporate life, in which I've led companies from technology, wealth management, insurance, and consulting, I found that there's one thing which is common to all businesses. Yes, you might think I'm talking about people and leadership and motivation, but no, I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about the fact that every business starts by making a business plan. Since we do it on a computerized sheet, Excel or any other sheet for budgeting and business planning, whatever we write about the future is just a projection. It never exactly happens that way. There's overachievement, underachievement. Things happen along the way. Regulations change, customers change, competition come in, and then what happens is that we have to keep on shepherding the entire journey. Just like a shepherd takes his mass of sheep dog, and then they just don't know how to travel in a straight line. Left to themselves, the sheep will dither away and they will go here and there. You have to keep adjusting here, adjusting there, doing certain things new way. New technologies come in and you have to apply new technologies to do your job. Things can become easier. Essential to achieve the same result, which is to get business success. Well, cooking is also not very far from that. There are certain techniques where you can't do much, like if you're baking a bread in an oven, you put in things according to right measures, you push it into the oven and then you just wait and pray. But when we're cooking with different kinds of equipment, cooking with utensils, cooking with knives and spoons and ladles, you have the option of adjusting along the way. I am Dr. Joydeep Roy, and I've come out of a 35-year corporate career, exploring the world of culinary pleasures as essentially a work-in-progress chef, if you may call me that. So today we are going to see how you can take the age-old stuffed capsicum recipe using a green capsicum. And that's the question for all of you. Why am I using a green capsicum? Why not a red or a yellow? And you please comment in the comment section below as to why this is such a different ingredient compared to red or yellow capsicum. How can color of a vegetable make for different types of dishes to be suitable to different types of ingredients? Well, this is a fundamental piece of the food chemistry, and I'd like you to think about it and put your comments below. So I'm going to use very simple stuffings, not too difficult, not too different. And I'm going to use a chicken keema as a main stuffing. Therefore, for today, we are not going to get into the cooking of the keema. I've already done it in exactly the same way. So we take the capsicum first, and to cut it and carve it, I'm going to use a ceramic knife. I'm not using tough, or I'm not really cutting through tough vegetables or meats. So therefore, this is pretty fine. Don't have to worry too much about finesse inside, because the whole part of the whole structure of the capsicum has to remain intact, and if the ribbed parts, they don't remain, if you cut it out too fine, then what's going to happen is that the structure may collapse on itself as we apply heat. So I'm going to use some sliced cheese to create a bottom support for the entire thing, and I'm going to fill it up with keema, essentially the same keema that we talked about as the main ingredient. I'm going to top it off with mozzarella. The new ingredient which I'm going to introduce in this as something which will offset the saltiness of the cheese and the keema is onion jam. So let's start with making an onion jam, but since I'm going to not cook it too much, I'm going to use this time an extra virgin olive oil, not the one which is the cooking variety, and I can use a lot of it. So what else goes in? Our old faithful salt and pepper, but not too much. So we are going to I'm going to crush some pepper this time, and we'll turn up the heat now. As we turn up the heat, I'm going to use some shredded onion, and as we turn the onion in it and let it stew for some time as it caramelizes. Now all of you know that onion caramelizes because it's got a high sugar content. So it caramelizes when heated and becomes hard and red. We don't want that to happen. We want it to retain its soft, translucent consistency, and for that we're going to use a technique which is normally used for taking out the bits and pieces from the underside of the pan and get the entire flavor in. Yes, I'm talking about deglazing. But this time I'm going to dig into my liquor cabinet, and we are going to use a little bit of a brandy. Now what happens when you put brandy or any alcohol for that matter, but this gives a dark flavor to it. If you put it at the right time, what happens is the onion stops becoming caramelized. So it will remain and maintain its texture, and it will continue to be jammy and give it a very nice twang. It doesn't happen just like that, so we have to put some garlic in it. We'll smash some garlic. I'm going to add a little more oil to it. And I have one more ingredient to add there, which will give it a little more sweetness. But I'm waiting for it to now start caramelizing. Cooking is also a great de-stressor. So you might be, really stressed out due to work, schedules, calendar, interrupts, email, phone. However, when you're cooking, you can't really attend to any of that. When you have something toasting behind, something getting done or overdone in the oven, fires all around with knives around you, you can hardly think of anything else. You have to time it, everything, you have to keep cutting, then roasting, then frying. You have no time to think of anything else till the food stuff is made. So if you're really serious about food and you like putting up dishes, it is the greatest distressor, because at that time you really have to forget all your other issues and all your stresses and concentrate on that. And at the end of it, when you really serve good food to people and they say, wow, I think a day just takes a new turn. Let us start constructing this. So what am I going to do if I'm not putting it on the oven? Well, I'm going to use another different equipment, a blowtorch. I'm in effect cooking the inside of the stuffed capsicum without an oven and using something which is giving pointed heat. With that done, it also emits a little bit of smokiness, which turns out to be very good. We go back to our onion jam, and to make the jammy nature, as I said, we're going to apply a bit of a brandy to it. I put 60 ml in it and let the onions stew in it for a little while before I'm going to add honey. Well, we can already smell the brandy, the evaporating part, the alcohol is evaporating, and let's start constructing the capsicum. By the time that this is done, we'll be ready. So this goes in. I'll also ask you a question about, do you know when India started its first stock exchange? Well, it's 1980. That's not the question, real question. And it's about 300 years after, and more than 300 years after the first stock exchange. Can you tell me where was the first stock exchange in the world? In the 17th century, where did the first stock exchange take birth? Think back, think of all the ancient civilizations, or not the ancient ones, the middle age middle period civilizations and think about which country would have taken that step of trading, stocks and trading, and you'll get the answer. If you know which country that was, please comment in the comment section below. I'll be keenly waiting to see which ones of you get the answer correct. And imagine the 17th century when most of the world, they were only thinking about territorial expansion through sea voyage and also about how to get more and more land and minerals and supplies. Trade was going on. A stock exchange was born as an alternate means of wealth creation in this country. So I'm very, very excited to see what kind of answers come in. And if you're thinking of England, it is not England. It is not. So the first stock exchange did not come up in London. Well, now the keema is in. Now we have to give a little color to this keema, as in some bit of taste before I can give the onion jam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all introduce a bit of green chili for freshness, because again we are talking of certain things which are, all of these things are quite well cooked, and the cheese has got a lot of umami also. So in the midst of all that umami and protein taste, it will be good to have a little bit of green chili, fresh green chili inside it. The next thing to put are raw but soaked almonds. Now this will give it a little bit of a crunch, otherwise it's going to be all mushy. So I'm creating a layer of almonds here. So this is going to also introduce a different color and a little bit of fun. Almonds again can't go healthier than that. Good, so we are now almost there. The onion jam is coming along well. As you can see, this changed color. It's already started looking like a jam. I will put it into a jar. And why am I doing this? Because I'm afraid of things coming all over me. Maybe, what I'm going to do right now, maybe many other more accomplished chefs can do it right here in the pan. Well, I think this is for home cooks or self-taught cooks like us. I think it's much safer and better to do it in a long-necked vessel like this, because I'm going to mash it up. What do I use for mashing it up? A bit of honey. It's about 2 tablespoonfuls of honey. And I'm going to give a little bit of salt to it still, because it's otherwise going to become too sweet. Okay, now for the fun. So there we are. The jam is complete and ready, and all I have to do is to pour it in. You can store this jam also, but if you want to store it for more than a couple of days, then please freeze it, because it's cooked onion, so it will stay, but freezing it is the best way, just like you can freeze stock. The last step now is mozzarella. So I'm going to top it off with mozzarella cheese. So why mozzarella? Why not the same cheddar slices? Well, cheddar slices are very pliable, and if I now try to close the top, especially with the jam that has been put underneath, they would have coalesced into one layer, and I would not have been able to use heat to create the top layer. Remember, the outside is still untouched, and this is where the fun comes in. So this is something which is targeted. I'm targeting just the top, solid, extreme heat, and now I'm going to do it on the sides. I can rotate it, and if you see, the sides have started to blister. These blisters are the way of cooking this in a very targeted fashion, very quickly, as if they have been through the oven. And see, the green capsicum is still holding up. It is still holding up. It's holding its shape. Its cellular structure is decomposing. It's becoming more and more edible. And there you are. One is done. I keep it for a little bit of resting time. So we move into the fire itself. We brought the fire right onto our cutting board and prepared this stuffed green capsicum, which is now ready to be served. Well, the best way to take it in a takeaway and carry away pack, be it a tiffin, be it a carry away, is to wrap it with aluminium foil. Because what will happen is, as the structure starts decomposing, and I've started the process, this will not stay for too long and it will start wilting. So what I'll do is, let me serve it. Here comes plate, and you can put lots of other ingredients alongside to garnish it. But what I would do is put a bit of cold mozzarella on top, just for color. Very, very salty, umami taste, always used for anything else like pizzas, like many other cheesy dishes. It lends itself to creating a nice cheesy top, and therefore that's my choice. So here we are. We have a stuffed capsicum which is cooked not by submitting ourselves to a process like an oven and praying, but by feeling our way through, gradually cooking the inside, cooking the outside, being absolutely sure of the results. Just like in a corporate business, you have to chef Ferdinand, you have to be sure of the final result. And this one takes the cake. Multi-layered, but also very, very tasty. So let's see what's inside. How does it look when you cut it up? Just like you'd love to see a cake after having cut it up. So I'm going to cut it very gingerly and carefully. I'm using a serrated knife so that I don't press on it. It's a soft structure. Here it is. This is how it looks, guys. Easily with the layers being visible, all the 4 layers. The keema, the cheddar at the bottom, the keema, the onion jam, and the mozzarella. I asked you a question some time back regarding stock exchanges as to which is the oldest stock exchange. Well, those who said Amsterdam are right on dot. It was in Amsterdam in late 17th century that the first stock exchange came to be. That's where all the trading happened, speculation happened. They also had the tulip rush and all of those things. But the world of trading started there, and therefore the whole culture of reporting to stock exchanges, listing companies, and therefore the quarterly projections, they all started so long back. And we are using that learning for cooking. Isn't that wonderful? See you next time. Don't forget to write your comments as you try to make it at home, for your offices, parties, and whenever you want to do something differently. Thank you very much.